Yins guys, thank you for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast, where we talk all about them Pittsburgh Pirates and that. Today is June 5th. Travis Swaggerty is the latest call up. We'll see his debut this week. It wasn't today. He was there today, but didn't make his debut today. The Pirates swept the Los Angeles Dodgers in Los Angeles for the first time since the year 2000.
Let's go.
Which was also the first sweep completed by the Pirates since August 27th, 2020. Let's get into it. Let's go, Bucs. My name is Josh. I'm joined, as always, by my brother Jake. What's up, Jake?
How we doing, man?
How about them Buccos?
How about them Buccos, man?
Pretty decent baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers, man. That felt like that's going to be the week of weeks, right? We're going to talk about that.
For sure.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that tonight. Dude, just a wild week for the Pirates, and then for myself. I had the whole week off. I don't like taking an entire week off because I'm kind of like a routine kind of person. Mm-hmm. And I had the whole week off, and it was just kind of weird. I even had last Friday off, and so it was kind of like this whole thing, and now it's going to be really weird tomorrow going back into work. Or I say going back, but what I mean is like
logging on.
Yeah, logging on. I work from home. But anyway, like we went down to COSI Science Center thingy. It was like a long day. Spent a day at the pool. I had one day where me and Keely just played a zoo video game. Like, she's been wanting to do this. We played it all day. It was like this thing where we're like, we're going to build a new zoo. And I was like, okay, we're going to just do this. You know what I mean? It was just like it was a pretty good week.
Yeah, it's fun. You got to play video games every once in a while, escape reality, right?
That's right.
I don't play a lot of games anymore either. I was playing MLB The Show, right? Obviously. My road to the show guy gets called up. First at bat, hit a bomb. Oh, Julio de la Cruz.
That's your name?
Yeah, that's the name.
I was just gonna ask you: Are you a Jake? You know what I mean? Do you put your own name in there? Are you always a fake player? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to always be myself, and I was just like, you know what? I'm over it.
I have a road to the show right now. I can't remember what my guy's name is. Yeah, don't remember. It's been a minute since I've played it, but I do have one. It's not I don't do my name either. I do something fake, but I don't remember what mine is. I think it might actually just be Redbeard. Like Red is his first name and Beard is his last name. Because of my gamer tag thing. So I think that's all it is, but I don't know. I've done a few things in the past. Done a few names, but
maybe we'll do something where we'll play a game against each other or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anybody else out there plays the show, let us know what your road to the show. If you go with your real name, or if you go with a fake one,
because we're not very good.
Awful. I never. I never.
We don't play enough to be good.
No. Dude, pretty crazy week. Yeah. It just feels like there's obviously the Dodgers sweep to me was such a moment for like Pirate fans, right? Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of people who kind of jokingly were like, we're going to the playoffs now. I think there were some that were like, maybe we are good. And it's like, this is baseball. Like these kind of things just happen. And I think for a lot of us, for a lot of Pirate fans, we look at something like that and we define things based on it. So like if we get swept by a bad team, then I think sometimes we say, like the Cincinnati thing, the Reds were so bad, and then we lost the series to the Reds, and we made it out to be more than what it really was.
Right.
This is still Major League Baseball. Anybody can, you know what I mean? And I look at Dodgers fans and like, they're not, this season's crap now, throw it away. They were just like, bump in the road.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you're good, that's what this is. It's a bump in the road. And you move on from it.
Yeah.
Hey, that team came out here and they played good baseball for 3 games. Maybe we played bad baseball. Either way, you learn, and you do better.
Right.
But for a team in the situation with the Pirates right now, man, you sulk in it. Like,
Absolutely.
you're loving this, right? This was awesome for so many reasons, because you know that's how good the Dodgers are.
Yeah.
You know that there's a pretty good shot they win the World Series on paper, right? You have to play the games for this very reason. This is why I say year in and year out, the best team does not win the World Series. Or let me back this up. Winning the World Series does not make you the best team in baseball.
Right.
And most of the time, it's not the best team in baseball who wins the World Series.
It's the hottest.
It's the hottest team who made it in.
Mm-hmm.
So the playoffs should be the best teams, but that doesn't mean the ultimate best team will win, or else why would you even do a playoff? You play 162 and you say, this is the winner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, yeah, because you say, I would even say that doesn't even because last year the Dodgers didn't win the division, and I still thought the Dodgers were the best team. But somehow the Giants had one more win than them, and I the whole time was saying, but the Giants are not better than the Dodgers, talent-wise, depth-wise, the whole thing. They were just really good that year. They had a better season.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them a better team, right? And that's why you have to play to see who has a better season.
Right.
And we say those kind of things to look at the Pirates and we say, they're not going to have a good season. But they might actually be a better team than some of the teams who might have better seasons. Could the Pirates have had a better season? Yeah. Yeah, in the offseason, we could have signed a couple guys that were better than Yoshi and Van Meter and even Marisnik. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we could have started this season off. No Anthony Alford. We could have just not even had that situation. And we could have signed some veteran players that would have won us a few more games.
Yeah.
But understanding what we're seeing right now, it's almost like, but some of these opportunities, we've already had 6 Major League debuts this year already. We just started June.
And Swaggerty will be a 7th probably this week.
Swaggerty will be a 7th this week, I guess the second official week of June. But
first full week.
But if he makes a debut on Tuesday, which I would assume he does, then you're saying within the first 7 days, so the first week of June, he's going to make his Major League debut, the 7th guy in in 2 months, because we started the season on the 7th or something like that, right? Of April, because it was a little behind.
Yeah.
So you're talking 2 weeks in. Now that rate isn't going to continue, but we'll get into that later. Because, what I'm saying right now is like the Dodgers series felt good because we know where we're at. And we know what the season's going to look like. And you have to take all of these victories along with it. The Dodgers are the best team. I think general consensus. And I think when you say somebody's the best team, it can never be really true, right? Because when you say this is the best team, it's not a matter of fact. And what I mean by that, and I think I drill this all the time, there are 2 things, right? There are 2 things you can have a conversation or that can exist here. One of them is a matter of fact, which means it's either going to be true or it's going to be false. So at the end of the year, when you say this team had a better season, well, there's a record that shows that there's a fact or that's either true or that's false. One team has more wins than the other team. Which one had a better season? You know what I mean? You already know because that is true or that is false. But when you say somebody's the best, or when you say somebody, just to really go the other, if you say a team was more fun than another team, that's a matter of opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I could tell you that I think the Dodgers are the best team, but there's no way to prove that, really. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no real way. So I think that they are in the discussion of, but I would say general consensus, the Dodgers are the best team.
You'd get a lot of pushback about the Yankees.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I mean, there might be another team out there that somebody else might say, hey, I really think it's this team. You know what I
I'm
mean?
gonna throw this out there real quick since they. I mean, I know I'm not brought it up, but how about JMO?
Yeah, well, that's actually a good point. JMO, Musgrove, and Garrett Cole all pushed perfect games into the 7th inning this week. That's outrageous. Yeah, good for them. And with that said, I mean, this is off topic, but we're going to branch off for just a second here because you said that. But the Garrett Cole trade, to me, it's all erased, sure, but it brought us Joe Musgrove. So then you immediately talk about the Joe Musgrove trade and how it has actually been decent. And, you just look at those returns. It's
getting better with Marcano.
Yeah, it is. Wait, was Marcano? No, was Marcano was the one they missed out on in the Musgrove. That was the Adam Frazier. Adam Frazier was right. Sawinski, right. Marcano, and Miliano.
Yep, you're right.
And so Sawinski and Marcano right now playing well makes the Adam Frazier trade look really good. And he didn't fare well for San Diego. Did they trade him, or did he sign as a free agent with the Mariners? I think they traded him. So there may be something there. If they got a good return, then maybe they can say that was fine for them, like we're trying to do with Musgrove.
Mm-hmm.
But Musgrove brought us Hudson Head,
Bednar.
Wow, am I drawing a blank here? I thought there was two actual, no, Bednar might have been, I don't remember. Maybe Marcano was part of that. I don't think so, though. I think he used the Adam Frazier deal. I'm going to get it real quick. Hang on. I can actually pull this up very quickly because I can go to Bednar and I can go to one of the other guys. So the Bednar deal was the Musgrove deal, and it looks like Omar Cruz, Drake Fellows, Hudson Head, and then Andy Rodriguez with the Mets kind of getting Lucchesi and kind of in the mix there.
Yep.
And it was just Musgrove. So that one's still, I mean, obviously Bednar, right? That's the big piece in that, which we thought we were looking at some of the others as maybe the big piece. But yeah. So don't know there, but Marcano, the guy that we felt like he was like, oh, he just wanted him. But yeah, Miliano, Marcano, and Sawinski for Adam Frazier. I think everybody perpetually gets those mixed up. But anyway, you bring that up and you say like, oh, what do these look like? Well, right now, Musgrove's really good. But Bednar is more than good, right? It's like a big deal. And you still have other guys that could possibly be good down the road. But the Tyone deal with Roanzi, yes, JMO's really good right now. But to me, that's like he's not going to stick around.
Right.
This is his walk year. And we knew that. And so we knew we had to do something. And if you're rebuilding, that's the kind of thing you do. And to have the potential of Yajure, the potential of Escado, and you know what I'm saying, and that whole deal, to turn that around with obviously what we're seeing from Roanzi right now, which is the big piece of that. You know what I mean? And I don't know that maybe all of us felt like he was. I don't know. You know what I mean? But you got Yajure, who he had already made his debut with the Yankees, and he's been injured and, figuring things out. I still think there's potential there for him to be something. But maybe we'll see there. Escato, still a long shot kind of guy. But Roanzi looks like the real deal right now. Kanan Smith and Jigba's playing really well and could be coming up. So the Tyone trade really looks great for both teams. I think it fits what both teams wanted at that moment. And so I think that's a good deal. Yeah. And then Garrett Cole, like I said, that brought us Joe Musgrove. But it's the same thing with Garrett Cole. A little bit different timing. He was about to go anyway, and I think that he was trending the opposite direction at that moment in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He was trending the opposite direction. Now, that's a Neil Huntington trade. We understand that. He liked to acquire guys that were close, even if they didn't have a high ceiling, which is what Martin was, which is what Moran was, Musgrove, those, the last two of those, and Feliz all had already had Major League experience.
Mm-hmm.
But Garrett Cole was never going to be anything in Pittsburgh, and he was going to walk. He was never going to extend. And the fact that the regime that was in there at the time wanted him to throw pitches that weren't his best pitches, that was a problem.
Yeah.
But it's kind of an interesting take on development. I know we're talking about the Dodgers series right here, and we've gone way off.
A little bit.
This is how we do things. It's how we do things. We talk about how we failed to develop, yet we also talk about all these players who have gone and done well other places. And I'm like, development mostly happens in the minors. So Garrett Cole, Jameson Taillon, Joe Musgrove doesn't count there. He was developed by Houston. There is still some development that happens at the major league level. And we've talked about that in the past. There still has to be. But for a bulk of things, we've said, no, we've done actually better than I thought when we start looking at some players that do well other places. I think there are some obvious misses, though. And Cole Tucker being one of those, and we'll get into him in a minute. But first things first, I know we were just talking about that Dodgers sweep, and we want to kind of circle back to that for a minute because we saw Ke'Bryan Hayes light it up. We saw Brian Reynolds had a nice series in that last game.
On both sides of the plate?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, so like he had the 2 hits in the final game there, and that was left-handed. And he hit the home run off Walker Buehler, right? Third inning off Buehler. And then in the second game of that series, or that was in the second game of that series, in the first game of that series, hit the home run. Wait a minute. Home run in the first game of the series. The second game, he had the double off David Price. Once again, when he flipped around right-handed. But he was still 1 for 5 in that game, and 1 for 5 in the first game when he hit the homer off Buehler. So it's not like he had the full series, but like Ke'Bryan had 3 hits in the first game, led off, had the hit in the second game, but I felt like it was still, he also drew the walk. And then Reynolds in that last game, though, 2 for 3, 2 walks, and the home run that in the 8th inning was big. I think I'm putting this all together. Castro hit the bomb in the 9th to seal it. That's what it was. All right. So much fun.
Yeah.
That whole series, I felt like they played well. Other than that first game, what was the error? The Castro error in the first game. They played a clean series error-wise. And, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and I felt like starting pitching was really strong. Thompson goes into the 6th inning in the first one. Keller threw, and he drew 5 walks and hit a guy. This is kind of thing. He still was effective. Just the 2 hits and 2 runs. A lot of traffic on the bases. we've said this the last time we played the Dodgers. They're not going to chase. They're
No.
very disciplined.
No, they're very
You
disciplined
can't
team.
nibble against the Dodgers. But he didn't let it crush him. And, dude, we've now beat Urias twice.
Yeah.
Your Cy Young pick.
And I'm still saying he's got a good shot for the Cy Young.
He's 3-5 right now. Wins and losses for starting pitchers do not mean what they used to. He's still pitching to a 289. And he still struck us out a lot in that game. So
yeah.
Now Walker Buehler, on the other hand, 322. So maybe not looking quite as good as your pick. Those are our picks for Cy Young. We are Dodger fans over here. No, not really. I don't dislike the Dodgers. I'm a Vin Scully fan, and I've watched a lot of Dodgers. So yes, I do tend to not hate the Dodgers because with MLB TV, I just turned the Dodgers on to listen to Vin Scully for a couple of years because I just loved him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I have the thing I have for Jock Peterson. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the Justin Turner turnaround and things like that. I just, you know what I mean? Some of those guys I like, but it was mainly because of Vin Scully, and then it's by default, you know. But anyway.
Yeah.
But dude, they just don't. But then the start by Quintana was really good still, and that was probably one of his starts where he didn't get out of the fifth, and you know what I mean? But still only ended up with two. With the 2 runs, and that was Bonda almost giving that last game up, but with a 8-2 lead, it was pretty sealed up.
Yeah,
felt good.
I tell you what felt good to me, and this is, we all know what my rant was last week, and we brought Bednar in the first game of the series against the Dodgers, and made him throw 56, right? 50 plus
pitches. 50 pitches, exactly.
Pitches. Like, I don't know. That's crazy to me. Because if I don't know if going through Shelton's head and like, well, I either trust the rest of my staff, which he hasn't proven that he does because De Los Santos still just doesn't pitch. I don't understand that. But it's just, once he throws that, once he sent him back out for that second inning, he was done for the series.
So Bednar not only blows the save, but we get behind in that inning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because I think this plays 2 different ways in your head, and I'm really interested to see this because I know that you were like, there's no way you send Bednar back out there. But let me give you a couple scenarios. I'm just going to play devil's advocate here for just a minute because Bednar's in there saying, we got this lead back. You give me that ball. So there's a revenge inning. And he's the kind of guy who you kind of feel like, he means it.
Absolutely.
And then the other piece of that is, so that's the pitcher saying, give me the ball, which is some of your argument with starting pitchers, because you say, if my starter says he's good, I want to give him the confidence to do that. Where I've made the argument, the devil's advocate argument, where it says it's not up to the player. The manager should be the one that has emotion put aside to say, I know you want it. I love that you want it, but we're going to go with this guy because I trust him too. Right? And so there's that 2 sides that a manager has to look at where you want the player to want the ball every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in that scenario, like the manager's the one that says, do I honor that? Or do I also say, hey, this is a team sport and we're giving it to the next guy and I love your fire. Keep it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what your argument is a lot of times with a starter, but this is a different animal. So do you actually go with it? Or do you go with that attitude of Bednar with the revenge inning? He's the kind of guy you want to have.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, what do you do to a guy if he goes out there and blows it again? Could you
Right.
imagine having 2 blown saves in the same game? Does that even count as a blown save? No, because he's not. It won't be 2
No,
blown saves.
because it's not a save situation.
No.
Because he was
Well,
already in the game.
right. That's the thing. Because it's not. And I understand that. You do give him the opportunity to get a win. To that. It's that whole, like, I want to avenge that blown save. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, he'd have got the win anyway.
You're right, but he had to go out and earn it. I actually don't like that. I don't like that though. I'm sorry. If you blow a save and somebody else, and then you finish the inning and somebody else, and then you take it back, I don't think it should go to him. You were ineffective.
But he was the last player to toe the rubber.
There is some of that though, where they can award a win to another pitcher in those scenarios.
What are you gonna do? Award a win and a save to the next guy?
No, I don't know what it is, but he finished an inning.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. There is a piece of that where you can do something. I don't know if that's the time where you can do it.
Yeah.
And I don't even like. I might be completely like bonkers by saying that. I might be completely wrong, but I feel like there's a time where even though like technically he was lined up, you could actually give it to somebody else if that guy was completely ineffective. But I don't know if that's true or not. But either way, yeah, I was really curious to see where you are because you're in a Dodgers series. You know that you have an opportunity to be swept.
Mm-hmm.
You you're staring at beating Walker Buehler, a game that he pitched anyway. And at this point, You're saying like, yeah, you just went out there and you took the lead off of Kimbrel, his first blown save of the year. You know what I mean? We could give him an L, and I could go back to my guy, even though I went to my guy an inning before that.
And it depends. For me, I didn't look out in the bullpen. Maybe they weren't even warming anybody up in case we got the lead back. And at that point, you have no choice but to put Bednar back in the game because somebody isn't ready.
Yeah,
and if you
they did have somebody out there though, and I don't remember who it was. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
I think they did have somebody warming up to come into that game if they needed it, but they almost have to. You can't do. You know what I mean?
Well, see, I guess my opinion on this is I wouldn't have brought Bednar in the 8th inning.
I don't know though, because this is the kind of thing that we're talking about.
That we got to stop doing.
No, you're saying 2 innings, right? But we've talked about Bednar, the usage of Bednar, the old school kind of deal where we say, no, I want Bednar going out there in the time to put him out there. And he went out there
kind of got away from that.
And he faced Trey Turner, Will Smith, Edwin Rios was due up with Justin Turner, the 4th hitter in that inning.
And I get that, but at the same time, we kind of moved on from that because no one else has proven to be effective enough to be the 9th inning guy.
True, but if he gets through that inning clean, he does go 2 innings and not throw 50 pitches. So you're banking on him getting through that inning and then saying, well, then he can face, if he goes clean. If he goes clean there, he faces Turner, Taylor, Pilar before it wraps around to, and then Hanser Alberto before it wraps around to the leadoff. So you figure if he can get me 6 outs and 7 hitters, we don't ever have to face Mookie Betts. But the fact that he came in and faced, that group, because you're talking about in that game, didn't Rios hit a homer in that game, or was that a different game? I'm looking. Alberto had actually hit a home run and Betts. So, and Rios in the 6th. So what you're saying is Betts. Yeah, Betts. Okay. So what you're saying is I'm going out there. You got Rios, who's a little bit hot. Turner is always hot. Will Smith has the potential to do anything, anytime. And then you got Rios. So you kind of are sitting there looking at this saying, no, I want to bring in Bednar now. Let's make sure of this kind of a thing. But I could see that. I could see what you're saying. because what ended up happening is after the inning that they had, now all of a sudden you had 9, and then it was right back to Betts, Freeman, and then back to Turner. But when you're sitting there with 3, 4, 5 due up in the 8th inning, you bring in Bednar to face 3, 4, 5, assuming if you keep that lead, maybe you tack on those runs without giving up the lead first, then Bednar comes out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I get that.
To face the bottom of the order.
I'm not saying it's ridiculous. I'm just letting you know, like,
right.
in my opinion, I'm not bringing him in. And if I do,
I see, and that's where I'm at. I do. Hindsight is 2020. Yeah. But I do bring him in because if we tack on 2 runs in the 9th, then he faced the toughest inning, and you let the next guy face the bottom of the order.
But either way, even if he gets through that inning clean, I feel like I'm gonna need, which hindsight's 2020. We ended up not, but we need you more in this series than just this game.
Yeah, and I could see that. To me, I think the mindset may have been, let's at least get a win. You know what I mean?
I don't like that.
But against the Dodgers, I don't know.
I know
what you're saying. You don't want to be swept. And here's the thing. Again, hindsight's 2020. It didn't hurt us. We took the series.
Right, absolutely.
We swept the series, let alone took it. But yeah, it does give yourself, if you can open up game 1 there and you can get out of that game and do everything you can to win that game. When you're in the playoffs, you don't save a guy for the next game. You win every game, every time you have an opportunity. If you have to deal with throwing somebody else tomorrow, I'll deal with it. I need to win today. And I really felt like when you go into L.A. in a situation like that, I felt like the Pirates just treated that like it was a playoff game. And I thought that was really cool that they did that. That was my thing. With that said, do you send him back out in the 9th in that situation?
It's tough. He's barking at Shelton saying he wants the ball. It.
Yeah. So do you honor that? Because he said he did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He said, "I'm good. Give me the ball."
And I think it's just a decision you have to make as the manager, because you know for a fact you sending him back out there, he's done for the series, and you got to be able to. You got to be able to make that call and go with your gut at the time, and it's a tough decision to make. It really is,
because it's 9-1-2, and he's going up against Betts and Freeman after facing Alberto, who had already hit a homer in that game. So when he doesn't get through the 8th, you find yourself in the same position in the 9th. Oh, this is the type of inning we need Bednar for. Oh, wait, Bednar just threw and blew it.
Mm-hmm.
And, man,
I don't know. There's not very many. And again, it just goes, for me, it goes back. I wouldn't have used him in the 8th, possibly. But, there's a good chance I would have let him talk me into sending him back out there.
I will say this, too. He walked Freddie Freeman after going to a full count. And I'm sitting here saying, like, to me, every pitch that you got to throw to Freddie Freeman, I was nervous. As soon as he walked him, I actually was relieved. Because, number one, Bednar doesn't have his A stuff tonight.
Sure.
If he had his A stuff, we'd have had a big lead.
Yeah.
He doesn't have his A stuff. And right after Betts hits that double and first base is open with 1 out, I'm thinking, I know it's Trey Turner next. And I know this will be the first time this season a player will face Bednar twice in a game, which seems bizarre that he's even doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got to feel so much better against Turner, even though it doesn't even give you the double play. It doesn't give you a double play because Turner's so fast.
It's very difficult to turn it on him.
But the fact that Freddie Freeman is like due, I guess he had a double in that game, right?
It's not even that he's due. He's just Freddie Freeman in a late game situation.
Yeah. And he
Yeah,
had an
he's just good.
opportunity. Did he not have an opportunity in the 7th? Taylor was out, Pilar was out. No, yeah, he had first and second in the 7th after Betts got walked and he grounded out. So he had an opportunity in the 7th and missed, and then you're giving him another opportunity. And I'm like, I'm kind of okay if he doesn't come, like if we walk him with first base open and a couple righties coming up, I'll take my chances. And then Turner flew out, and you get the Will Smith strikeout, which I felt like with Bednar against Will Smith, even though Will Smith could do damage, he's also a strikeout guy. And so you knew you could get him. Turner was the guy I was nervous about. Obviously, with this Dodgers lineup, you're nervous about most of these guys. But when you have Bednar on the mound, like Chris Stratton, I just feel like would have lost that game because of their lineup.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I mean, that's baseball.
It'd be interesting to see what, and I know I've mentioned this once, it'd be interesting to see what De Los Santos can do.
Right. Yeah. Well, to keep this thing moving, NL West was supposed to be this powerhouse juggernaut. I think some people are cooling off on that now that the Diamondbacks and the Rockies are coming a little bit more into reality. At one point, that whole entire division was over 500, and everybody was saying, "Is this the best? The best? The best?" The Bucs are 11-7 overall this season against that NL West. 8-4 on this run. Rockies, Padres, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. And we didn't talk about this Diamondbacks series, but we did get the series sweep. Sawinski with the walk-off homer, come from behind. We had a lot of opportunities this weekend that we didn't score runs in. I felt like we scraped a couple good wins out here, but we really didn't play our best baseball at the plate and still was able to get a series win. And I think that tells you right there, as far as I am, and like I said,
homer.
And as far as I can say, that this is opinion, and I'm still sticking to that, but the Pirates are a better team than that Diamondbacks team. And the fact that we left a lot of guys in a situation, even today, bases loaded, nobody out, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Dan Vogelback, all strike out. Or did Vogelback grounded out? But to me, the two were, because anybody, bases loaded, 2 outs is no guarantee. You're hoping to come through. Hitting is harder than pitching.
Right.
So you're hoping to come through. But with nobody out, Ke'Bryan Hayes and Brian Reynolds have to put the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
You can't strike out. And I saw a couple other at-bats in that. You can't take strike 2 if it's a fastball. You got to swing.
No, you got to jump on it.
Anyway, let's take a break and move on here just to keep this thing rolling. Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2 Buctober. Audio podcast available on your favorite podcast platform. Video podcast available on YouTube. Follow us on the socials and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts, take a couple minutes for a review. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Check us out. Biffed it, and I understand that, and I already hit record, so we're just rolling with it. This is the way that things go here. It's just fine. It's just fine. Hey, guys, since I didn't get to play it, and I'm not going to play it now. It's already defeated. Check out Swearingen Bat Company. I know we play that out every episode, but guys, if you're ever in I'll tell you a couple things here. If you're in the market for a wood bat for whatever, I know Jake plays in a wood bat fast pitch league, which he has to get to a game tonight. So we're going to try to get through this because he still has to get there. But also, like, there's a couple in town here that are slow pitch softball leagues that use wood bats, or even young baseball players or any age baseball players who are looking to train with a wood bat, or maybe you play in a wood bat league. They're great bats. If not, they also have some really super cool looking bats that you could just get to hang that they can custom paint job a bunch of stuff that might be a really cool piece in your room. Cool bats, cool people. I actually got a chance to go in and check out the place when we were home last weekend. And that's cool. Like, he's got a nice little setup there. It's cool. It's local. Check it out. All right.
They have other stuff like merchandise too. I think they do T-shirts and a couple other things too. So
Sure. So, and they'll outfit your whole team. If you're a little league coach, they'll outfit your whole team.
yeah,
they were working on a big, huge order for a team when I was there. But anyway, some more moves this week, and we're never going to stop talking about this, guys. Every week, this is going to be a topic of discussion. It feels like. I know it's going to slow down, but we talked about it a little bit earlier with Swaggerty getting the call, and this is going to be more of this. So we didn't do Bucs Clippers because we knew that we were going to talk about this. Hoy Park was called up for that one day, made a base running mistake. They sent back down. But the rumors were true. We acquired Yu Chang for some cash, designated Cole Tucker for assignment. So this was kind of like the big, okay, this could be it. Now, my opinion, Park would have been first to go. Then Yoshi. I'm sorry. Park would have been first to go on my list. I had a list. I had a little list. It would have been Park, it would have been Yoshi, it would have been Van Meter, and then it would have been Tucker. And I had a reason for that. And it was order of operations. Park and Tucker, to me, are pretty interchangeable. They have an option, right? And they're in their option year, which means we can send them up and down and use them as we need it. To me, Tucker was a better guy for that option because he can at least give you defense. I feel like Hoy Park gives you nothing. However, Hoy Park gives you more walks, so a better on base than Tucker. And I think that Sherrington just valued that over defense, where me personally, I would have valued the defense over that. But fair enough. If that's where your value is, then that move still makes sense to me. Now, I think Yoshi and I thought Van Meter would have been my next to go before Park, only because of that option. Because the option alone, to me, is more valuable than anything Yu Chang could ever offer us. I really do believe that, because an option gives you that, crap, somebody's hurt, we got to do something today. Well, we can just bring up Hoy Park for emergency and then figure out, you know what I mean? And the same thing could have been for Tucker, but that is why. And the whole Van Meter Yoshi thing for me, and why they were ahead of those two guys, is because obviously if you're making the major league roster better, then you need to make a move off the major league team, not off the minor league team.
Yeah.
And so that's why. So now I think Park's here to stay. I think his moves down for me. Now it's Chang, Yoshi. And I say that because Van Meter is hurt right now. On Friday, Dan Vogelback came back from the IL, and Van Meter went on it. But prior to Van Meter's injury, he was actually starting to hit.
Yeah, he was.
And I know that,
he was getting some big hits too.
Yeah, and he started making some plus plays. I said this. He's not making any plus plays, but he is kicking the ball in very bad times to make an error. He didn't make a ton of errors, but they were bad times.
Yeah.
And he started to make some plus plays, which when you make plus plays, then physical errors happen. We understand that. The Pirates are probably making way too many of them, but it's kind of hard because they're all spread out. We've talked about this. But he was starting to make extra plays, and it was like, okay. But once he started hitting, it started to be like, all right, I have a little more of a, like, he's still a roster spot that will go away. We understand that. But at least my leash gets a little bit longer with him.
Yeah.
But now he's hurt, and who knows if the hot streak's going to be over. Once you stop playing, it's hard to get that going again.
Right. Hopefully it's not just hopefully it wasn't just a hot streak. Hopefully he just figured something out. Because I don't think he was hitting well enough to be like a hot streak.
Well, I mean,
I think he was starting
when you
to hit
look
the
at
ball.
like over the 10 games, he was, around, as like was more recent, but like he started to run into the ball a little bit, hit the ball a little bit harder, had a couple homers. Yeah. Anyway, The big news came today with Travis Swaggerty being called up. He's been hitting really well lately. And optioned Rodolfo Castro to Indianapolis. Now, I don't think that's the last we'll see of Castro. I think he's a versatile player. I think that he is overmatched right now and still needs to develop. And I really hope that, and the errors were the errors, right? But we also threw a guy into a position that he hasn't been playing for 3 years.
Right.
So I'm saying maybe we made it. Now, he still made some errors at second, too, but I think once the damage is done, it's in your head. And we've said this. He needs to go back down. And so now he gets a chance to go back down. I'm not saying that Rodolfo Castro is a horrible baseball player. I don't believe that's true. I believe that he was not ready for this yet. And he needs more work, more development. But the biggest thing for him was the pop-up he hit to first base, and Derek Shelton spoke out about this. And the pop-up he hit to first base, and he was, when I say jogging, that was barely a jog. Give me 3/4 speed. Yes, you popped out to the first baseman, and first base is blocked. Give me 3/4. Make sure that they can't double that up. Smart play on the first baseman, but also a little bit of hustle, and he just catches. All you have to do is show a little bit of hustle, and he never thinks to drop that ball. Because then it's a bang-bang play. He will never even do it.
Right.
You know? So the fact that you dogged it gave him that idea. So Shelton spoke out about it and said, that's not how we play. And I was like, yeah, because that's not how the Pittsburgh Pirates play. But there's a reason for that. It's not just this weird, like, it's a completely new team. How do you know that's not how they play? Well, they certainly didn't play like that with Clint Hurdle because he made sure of it. Mm-hmm. They certainly didn't play like that under Leland. With the whole situation where Shelton said, we would have taken him out if it wasn't for the fact that all we had on the bench was Vogelback. And we knew that the Castillo-Vogelback thing was going to happen.
Yeah.
Leland would have been like, Vogelback's playing shortstop and it's Castro's fault. You know what I mean? Like, he would have just done that. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. You know the clip.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's the thing, is like, that has to be instilled. And we already had this conversation before. Who was the guys called up the last time this happened? Where they said the was when Wilson went down. Contreras and De Los Santos appears to have been called up, even though we don't see him play. But that was the whole thing. And then Cal Mitchell was followed after that. And you know what I'm saying? Like, because Shelton is starting to say, like, hey, you got to earn it here. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I have criticized Shelton for that sort of thing, for not having his players back, but also for not, like, calling people out in a way. He's always really quiet. And now we're starting to see, like, him hold his players accountable. And I think that's step one. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I still need to see him stand up for his players a little bit, but there hasn't been a whole lot of opportunities for that recently. So I just, I like my manager to get thrown out of games on his players' behalf.
Yeah.
Spark a fire. This is a way to spark it, right? One of the ways to spark it is to call your team out, is to hold them accountable. That's how you get guys to play hard.
Yeah.
And it's not a whole, like, make an example out of this guy. No, it's not that. Castro has other reasons why he's being sent down. It's not like I'm sending you down if you don't run out of pop fly.
Right.
But you're making errors, and I'm giving you opportunities. I know the bats, like, I know the power's there, but it's not been consistent. I know that there's work that needs done, but then on top of that, if you take it for granted, you're done. Mm-hmm. I'll give you opportunities.
Yeah, there's
until you don't try for them.
Right. And there's not a lot of guys who hit that home run that Castro hit at Dodger Stadium. Mm-mm. That was a good fastball in on his hands, and he got his hands way inside
to keep it
and
fair.
Kept that ball fair.
Yeah.
And hit it 400 feet down a line. Like, unreal. So
yeah. The tools,
the kid's
there
got
is
potential.
There's something there. I think what I see him as a career major leaguer so to speak, is probably a low average, pop some homers coming in off the bench, being a good player. He's very athletic. Even though the errors were there, I feel like if he's spelling a guy, like he's giving a guy a day off, he's a switch hitter, so he can do it from either side. And he's shown that. Like the power plays on both sides. It's not like one side's an average side, one side's a power side.
Right.
It's really, you know what I mean? Like he's got weapons. I don't think that he's what I want for an everyday player. But like if he's going to make me 4 errors in 19 games, that's too many errors. But if he's going to make me some errors in a day that he's giving a guy a day off, I can live with that. With the potential for him to hit a home run on some of those days too.
I think he's one of the guys that I think would have a potential to be a versatile defender too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at least he's a much better third baseman and even second baseman than what we've seen from short. But now that he'll probably get some more time at short. And, you know,
I'd like to see him in the outfield.
I'm sure he could probably play some outfield.
The way he went and got some of those fly balls while he was playing shortstop.
Right.
I like that. And that's the kind of guy I think you should move around.
Yeah.
I think he'd be good at that.
Yeah. And the fact that he doesn't have because we've talked about this too. If you have a guy who's a really good like Kevin Newman being a shortstop, Key Brian Hayes being a third baseman, if you have a guy who's really good at that position, no reason to move him.
No.
If he's not great at a certain position and he's not an everyday guy like at the plate, which Castro's not. He's got weapons, but he's probably not an everyday offensive player. Those are the guys you make versatile.
Yeah.
Because now your opportunities increase. But anyway.
Yeah.
The last thing on that whole move, on the Swaggerty move, is that, not on the Swaggerty move, but on the news on Sunday, is that Cole Tucker from the Yu Chang trade. Cole Tucker was claimed today by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, he was not there, according to Jason Mackey. He was not at the game, but he was claimed by the Diamondbacks. And I had been vocal about the Dodgers picking him up. But this is like the next best thing because he's from there.
Yeah.
The next best thing for Cole Tucker, right? But not only that, but like if he goes back to the Dodgers, then they try to make something out of him in AAA this year because their organization can do that. And he has the option. Where the Diamondbacks actually could create some opportunities for him to actually get called up this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So here's the thing. Best wishes to you. I hope you figure this thing out. He's a lot of fun. And it was time. I mean, I had a feeling I've seen a really split as far as people saying like, I can't believe somebody claimed him. Dude, the Diamondbacks have to be high on that list. It is very possible they are not the only team that claimed him. But since they have priority, and I'm sure they do, I don't know where that is. I don't know if that's even out there. If somebody knows, but I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if multiple. And the reason I say that is because I just talked about him and Park having the option.
Mm-hmm.
That means you have all this time. You have a whole season. He can play in the minors. He can be an emergency call-up if you need it, or you don't have to. You play him in AAA. Sure. If he figures something out, great. You have him. If not, you can just let him go. You know what I mean? Like it is a low risk move when a guy has an option. Now, the reason you would let him go is because you don't have an option for next year.
Right.
But the fact that it's the beginning of June, then I've got 3 months, 4 months, really. I don't know. I forget how long the AAA season actually makes it this year, but it's a little bit longer than usual. But like you've got 3+ months to see what you can get out of a guy with no worry about like call up and send down. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just feel like that's a good opportunity for any team to take. If you have a 40-man spot available, you know what I'm saying? Like, heck yeah, dude. He's well worth it. He's definitely athletic enough. His defense is already there. I mean, so long as you don't put him in right field. And actually, he was okay in right field, but still, you don't have to. He's a middle infielder. Keep him at middle infield because he's good there. But, as far as I like him, so that's the only reason he gets this kind of play on this week's podcast, because see you later. Have a good one. It was time. It was not going to work here. We had talked about that for weeks now.
Yeah.
You and I both. We've talked about it for weeks that he's probably not going to work out here. But it's a guy I root for.
Yeah, and this is the kind of stuff that happens. Jose Bautista didn't work out in Pittsburgh. Blew up. Now, I'm not by any means saying he's going to go at 50
I see
homers.
what you're saying. Yep.
But I'm just saying that there are guys that just don't work out for your team. Garrett Cole worked out, but he was never going to reach the potential that he got with the Pirates.
Well, certainly not, because he reached that potential when he would have already been a free agent. So,
right.
I guess he had the 1 year in Houston that was unreal.
Cy Young year that he just got outdone by Verlander on the same team.
Yeah, ridiculous.
But that just gives us. I mean, I haven't completely given up on Cole Tucker either. I'm not
as a Pirate. I have.
Oh, obviously, as a Pirate,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like I was ready for that to be done. Like even if he would have stuck out this year with the Pirates, there would have been no way we would have brought him back for next year without an option. Like there would have been no way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this was inevitable here.
Yeah.
But I kind of
do something.
For me as a guy who rooted for him, in the back of my head, I kind of thought, I know that there's not a chance. At least I thought there wasn't a chance he doesn't get claimed. But I was kind of like, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's that bad right now that he doesn't get claimed. And then we get another shot to just let him play out this year. And then if something clicked, you keep him up. But even then, you probably don't, unless something clicked.
Yeah.
And he still wouldn't, I don't think he would have been back up. I think it would have been let's see what we got next spring. You know what I mean? We'll invite him to spring again. Anyway. With that said, Swaggerty is the talk right now. He's probably going to make his debut Tuesday against Detroit in Pittsburgh. I can't imagine he won't.
Yeah.
Because we got 2 at home and then we go on the road again. He's going to probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays both of those games, even though it's a weird one. I mean, I could see them giving Reynolds Wednesday off.
Yeah.
They got Monday off, so I don't see him giving Tuesday off to Reynolds. But if we win the first game, maybe they give Reynolds a day off even and play all the young outfielders. I guess it depends on pitching matchup too.
I'm not,
because if they're going to bring the lefty Scooble either of those days, there's no way we go with 3 left-handed outfielders against him.
Yeah, that's true.
But so that might play, Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe you just say like, well, we'll give Swaggerty one day, Sawinski another day, or Cal Mitchell one day. So either way, I would think that he's going to play at least one of those games, but it ain't going to stop. Smith and Jigba's left-handed too. We're going to have to find right-handed bats in the infield.
Yeah.
But
well, and we've seen this before too with McCutchen. It could be a chance to give Brian Reynolds just a long, just cool, just relax, let's just work on some little things or whatever, and try to get
give him an
ship
entire
right.
series off, just to say, hey, you're not going to play against Detroit.
Series. Yep, you'll have a quick 2-game series. It's not like
Monday
it's going to kill you. With Monday off, that's 3 days, 2 games, 3 days.
Yep.
Maybe that's.
Maybe then it kicks off, and then it kicks off like we have 4 against the Braves and then 4 against the Cardinals to start the following week in only 3 days. And then you have that Thursday off, and then it's like no days off until the All-Star break.
Yeah.
With a doubleheader included in that. Like 14 games in 13 days. So at some point, you are kind of saying like, sure, I can give him these 8 games in 7 days. But I also could just say, let's, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Swaggerty's going to play. They didn't call him up to not play. maybe
Right.
Yuri De Los Santos. I still don't understand it.
Mm-mm.
But the thing we wanted to say is Sawinski, 3 hits in 2 different games this week.
Yeah. He's went from like a 180 or whatever batting average. He's up to 229 now after his 3 hits today.
Yeah.
And the power numbers are there. Like, he's leading the National League rookies in home runs. And I think the second guy on the list.
It's the dude from it's Fortes
It's the dude from Miami. Yeah,
he has 5.
I don't know what's going on there. He's got 5 in 18 games.
Yeah, he's on fire.
But the other guys on that list have all played like
got
50
5
plus.
too. He hit one of them off Pujols.
He's got 6.
Or Molina. No, off Molina.
He's got 6.
Yeah, I know, but he's got
6. No, I know what you mean, but still, I mean, yeah. I mean, the power's playing right now, and if the hits start coming a little more regularly as well, and he's looking in good shape right now.
Yeah, and Cal Mitchell's had good at bats, and he seems not entirely overmatched.
First career home run.
Yeah.
Just today.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
And then Diego, now that Castro's down, it's been said Diego gets the Lions' share at shortstop now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to get a better look at him, which I thought he should have been there anyway, rather than Castro. I would have been playing Castro at second on the days that both of them are playing. But and maybe it's the arm. I mean, I've said this before. Diego's arm's not great. Castro's arm is.
Mm-hmm.
Despite being somewhat inaccurate sometimes. But Diego certainly has had his share of good plays. Roanzi is looking like, I mean, you kind of wonder at some point, is he going to struggle? Because you expect rookies to struggle, but man, even when he's not on his best game, he's been really effective. And I thought this last start
which
against
was
Arizona.
in the Dodgers series.
What's that?
Didn't he start one in the or no?
He did. No, yeah, he had a start against the Dodgers.
The second game.
We had Thompson and Bueller in the first game, and then Keller Urias. No, he didn't. And then we had the Quintana.
Padres. It was the Padres because it was
the Padres.
Yeah, Profar's the one that hit the home run off of him.
Yeah, and then you had the loss from Brubaker where he gave up the home runs where you were just like, oh, there's the Brubaker we know, and you kind of that was a rough start for Brubaker, and his start before that with the sinker and all the deal, and I don't know. Anyway, bad location. Oh, and then Keller. That was the thing we didn't talk about with Keller was the sinker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he added a sinker. And it's like, oh, now all of a sudden I'm a little bit intrigued. However, I've said it once. I'll say it again. I'll just wait until it happens.
Yeah, intrigued is a good word.
Yeah,
actually.
I'm not
the best word you've come up with.
When we started this season, I was like, okay, I'm excited to watch Keller and see how this goes. I'm done being excited now, but now I'm like, I'll let him play. I'm not done with him.
Right.
But I'm not going to be excited anymore, and I'm just going to watch and see if it works out or not with no hope. No, I can't keep doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I just gotta wait. Anyway, Contreras with the long outing Saturday. What an at bat! I'm trying to think who was that. I might be thinking of another one because he got the one run, and it just felt like it was. I don't remember. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I don't remember what I was saying. But I thought that he had another really good start that just kind of came away from him late, and I felt like it was okay. It was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I know that because he threw 98 pitches, and his the last batter he faced in the 6th inning. It was like a long at bat. At least I felt like it was. I might be thinking of another one. It was the 6th, right? He didn't get out of the 6th, or he didn't get out of the 7th. I'm done looking just because I'm taking too long.
I missed Saturday's game.
Okay. So anyway, he just doesn't look like there's a whole lot of struggle there. He just looks good. And I guess when he struggles, it's like he's still effective.
Yeah, and when he's struggling,
he's got the
it's
great
location.
stuff. Yeah, exactly. It's always been location. De Los Santos, we're just still waiting to see a lot. Tucupita Marcano, I know he's not like made his debut this year, same with Rowanzi, but still, and Castro that we talked about, but still, he's still a young player. I think he's still rookie status, I'm sure. But he hit 2 home runs in back-to-back games against the Dodgers, and that's not his game. He's also laid down some good bunts. He's also shown off his speed. He's been both at second base and left field. He's been a good defender. He's made a lot of plays that, like, some of our guys who've bounced around have made a couple plays look sketch. He's been very comfortable. And so I just feel like there's a lot of it here. And then now we get to see Swaggerty this week. He'll be our 7th. Now, Bo Sulcer's the other debut in there. He's now gone after the DFA. But so this will be our 6th player, that's still with us making his debut, but 7th total. And he's going to get time. And there's a lot of young guys. And now you have O'Neal Cruz waiting, not for debut, but for young players, right? That's what we're focusing on, all these young players right now. But O'Neal Cruz is going to get his time. Ji-Hwan Bae is really playing well to try to make his way there. Caden Smith and Jigba we talked about. He's been on base a lot lately with hits and walks and whatever. Cody Bolton is pitching well in AAA. And then you have long shot players even. Oh, Mason Martin.
Yeah.
As he continues this, it sounded like there's been a couple things said that sounded like maybe there's an idea of specific things that he's working on, meaning if he nails down those specific things, it's inevitable he's getting a call. But then you got long shot players like Peguero, who's hitting so well, still working on defense. And he's still in AA and he's still very young.
Yeah.
But that's why he's a long shot. Like, I'm not calling that any of these next guys get a call, but I could see a scenario where they do. Michael Burrows has been lights out this year. Kyle Nicholas, I think he just got hurt, but he's a guy that could maybe late season find his way, getting something. Blake Sable has been, pretty good in the fact that he catches. If something happens with this, I mean, we've had enough problems with this catching. Who knows? I don't know. Matt Frazier, Nick Gonzalez, if things get absolutely bizarre, total long shots. I don't see those two happening, but geez Louise.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's a lot of names, and this is what we talked about this season would be about. And that's still happening. So stay tuned. But right now, let's focus on Swaggerty. Let's focus on any of these things. I don't know. Anything to add? Because we got to wrap this up. You've got to run.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Anything else?
The only thing I think I start that over 1 second. The only other thing I got to add is, fellas, if you're out there and you're a little frustrated with Key Bryan right now with a few errors he's made this season, just remember he's still a 10+ defensive runs saved guy. He's leading the National League in defensive runs saved. We're just a little more critical because we know how good he is.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. Monday off, 2 against the Tigers at PNC Park this week. So a night game Tuesday and a day game Wednesday. Turn it on while you're working. And then they go to Atlanta for 4, Thursday through Sunday. So, and an afternoon-ish game on Saturday too. So we won't go too far into it, guys, because Jake, seriously, like when I say we're done, he's probably going to take the headphones off while the outro is running. So, guys, this is a fun week. This was a fun couple weeks, really, because we fared really well against the NL West. So now we got a little work to do. Tigers are a beatable team. Let's get another sweep. Back-to-back weeks. I know it's a 2-game sweep, but guys, we didn't do that. We didn't even do a 2-game sweep. Let's go Bucs.
Let's go Bucs.
Thanks for listening to my dad and Uncle Jake on the Bridge to Buctober podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bridge2Buctober. Don't forget to subscribe so you know when new episodes are released. Clear the deck, cannonball coming, and let's go Bucs!